Editing videos is hard, right? You gotta record the video and then you gotta upload it into your software program, and then you gotta figure out how to edit it and make it look good and try to keep everybody's attention. But you know, I'm a real estate agent. This is not what I went to school for. I don't know how to do this stuff. So how do I edit a video and make it interesting enough so that you keep watching? I got a couple of ideas for you. Back in the day, I edited all my videos with iMovie. I didn't know jack about editing, so luckily, thanks to the University of YouTube, I was able to watch a ton of tutorials on using iMovie. But I quickly outgrew it because it just doesn't have a lot of features. And as you get better with editing, you kind of want to step up your game a little bit, right? And make your videos more interesting. Then I tried Final Cut Pro, which I'm not gonna lie, was extremely complicated and it kicked my butt. So I was on the search for something that was a happy medium. It had more features than iMovie, but it wasn't so complicated that I had to get out an instruction manual and a dictionary just to understand what this thing was saying every single time. Render the video? I don't even know what does that mean? I just want to export it. Why is it so hard? Then I hired a virtual assistant, and if you haven't seen this video up here where I talk about hiring a virtual assistant, you should watch that when this one is all over. But I still wanted to do some of my own editing, and I wanted to collaborate with her. There was only one problem. She was on Windows and I was on Mac. So what were we gonna do? This is exactly what we did. Hey friends, welcome back. I am Karin Carr, and on this channel I teach real estate agents how to get your own freaking business and become a legit bona fide boss. Because buying leads from the big portals kind of sucks, and it's very expensive. And cold calling, no. And life is just too short to do something that you hate for hours every day. So how about we do something that we enjoy and we get leads to call us instead and hire us sight unseen. Does that sound okay with you? Sounds good to me too. So back to my story. I had found this awesome virtual assistant who was in the Philippines using a Windows computer, and I had my Mac. We could not share Final Cut Pro, iMovie, anything like that because we were on different platforms. So I stumbled across this awesome program called WeVideo, which is cloud-based. That means that we are editing in the web browser. So I can record a video and upload it on my Mac. She can go in from the Philippines in her Windows computer and do the editing. We can share the files. We're not sending the files back and forth. It's all contained inside the system because we have a multi-user license. This is important. You can't just, share a login. You have to have one license for each person so that you're not violating the software user license agreement, also called the SULA. Or the EULA, the end user license agreement, EULA. So make sure that you have a license for each person that's going to be using the program. Now at first glance, it looks kind of simple. I have to say, I was a little bit of a snob. I looked at it and was like, this doesn't look like it's very robust. It's probably nothing more than iMovie. It's just cloud-based. But oh, I was mistaken. And let me show you how. The number one thing that WeVideo has over iMovie is that you can have multiple video tracks. With iMovie, you can have exactly 2. So let's say that you have your main roll of footage and then you have some B-roll. If you wanted to then have a watermark with your logo on top, you are out of luck, my friend, because they will only let you have 2 lines of video. And this is a problem. When you start to edit video where you've got layer upon layer upon layer, you quickly run out of room with only 2 lines of video. In WeVideo, my editor has done videos where we had 10 lines of video and 4 lines of audio. And you can do that just by clicking this plus button. If you're super organized, you can name each track. So this one is the main footage. This one is B-roll. This one is the logo. This one is motion graphics. This one is backgrounds. You can do all of those things. And that way, when you sit down to edit, it's very, very simple to go through all of your stuff and easily find what you were looking for. Let's face it, I'm not that organized, but you can. WeVideo is a subscription-based model, so you can either pay monthly or you can pay annually, and then they have different levels of their program. If you get the professional level or the business level, it comes with, love this, free stock footage. So how many times have you been saying, I'm filming my video and I need to find stock footage of buyers walking into an open house without a real estate agent? or stock footage of my city, like drone video of the downtown area. And so you go to pixabay.com or pexels.com or Unsplash, and you're looking for this footage. You really can't find anything that's free. They're driving you over to Shutterstock or other paid programs. And next thing you know, they're asking you to pay like $30 or $75 for the stock footage that you're gonna use in one project. So instead, the stock footage is included right inside WeVideo. It's with your annual or monthly subscription. Now I'm showing you an example of some B-roll that my editor has done for me in previous projects. And you'll see that all of this footage came directly out of WeVideo. None of this was something that I shot myself. None of this was something that I had to go and purchase additionally. I can just go into the stock footage area and search for what it is that I want. If I want a guy going, shrugging his shoulder going, I don't know, I can find it. If I want people cheering that are happy, if I want people having a dinner party, if I want aerial footage of my state, if I want scenes of the beach or the mountains or a log cabin or what have you, most of the time it is inside the stock media tab of WeVideo. Hallelujah, best thing ever. If you want to use text, so some text that will pop up on the screen, you can either have it be static, where it's just static text that doesn't move, or it is motion, like, thank you, Captain Obvious. And the text will move around on the screen. You simply go through all of the different options that they have and you pick the one that you like best. Then when you're ready to modify it, you drop it down onto your timeline, you double click it. You change the text, you change the font, you change the color, you change the duration, you change the size, you change where it shows up on the screen. You can modify it however you want, and it's very simple and very user-friendly. Then when you're done, hit save. That's it. How about audio? This is probably my only real complaint with WeVideo, is that they have a lot of music and sound effects inside the program, but every now and then when I upload my video to YouTube, it hits me with a copyright claim. Not a copyright strike. A strike is where 3 strikes, they delete your channel, bye-bye, see ya. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. That's bad news. A copyright claim just says, hey, somebody else says you're using their music and you didn't have permission to do it. Then I have to go back to WeVideo and say, hey, I got a copyright claim. This was the piece of music. I got it from WeVideo. You said we were allowed to use it. They file a dispute. It gets lifted. It's annoying, but every single time it has happened to me, it gets lifted. You're not penalized by YouTube. There's nothing that happens. They don't demonetize your channel. They certainly don't delete your channel. It's just a nuisance because as you're uploading it to the platform, it detects what that piece of music is and copyright claim right away. So it's a little bit annoying that I have to go back to WeVideo and say, hey, will you do this for me? For me personally, I think it's happened 3 times the whole time I've been using WeVideo, which is probably 1.5 years now. So it doesn't happen frequently, but it has happened a few times. So it is what it is. They don't have a ton of free sound effects though. So what I typically do is I Google free horn honking sound effect download. And I'll come across a bazillion different websites that say, hey, the sound effect is free for you to download. You don't have to give credit to the person who made it. You don't have to credit us in any way. You don't have to pay us. I download it, I upload it into WeVideo, and I've created a whole folder called music and sound effects. And that way I put all of them in one folder. So they're very easy to find later on. I also try to give it a name that I'm gonna remember. So if it's not called horn honking, and it's called something totally random, I will rename it before I upload it because I want to be able to find it. I got to search through that folder and find it quickly. There are themes that you can apply to your project which change it to, kind of dark and moody or overly bright and cheerful and sunny. Truthfully, I don't ever use these themes, but if you're somebody that's like an Instagram pro and you're all about the filters and stuff, this might be something that's really appealing to you. With the Pro package, you can save your branding, which I really, really like. So let's say that you have certain colors, certain fonts, certain logos that you use over and over and over again for your business, which you should. You can save those in the branding section. So now when you go to put new text in, it will default to your colors. You can choose your palette and have those readily available at the top of the list of all the colors to choose from. Your branding colors will be right at the top, and it will make it so much easier for you to make a consistent branding guide with every video that you publish. Now here's something that one of my agents and I came across this morning. She was playing the video in WeVideo and kept seeing a mistake over and over again. But when I was playing it on my end, it was perfectly fine. Why is that? It's because it's processing in the cloud. And so sometimes you'll make a change in the editing project and it takes a couple minutes before it really shows up. So it's happened to me before where I have a clip and I cut it and I grab a part and I hit the delete button, but when I go to play it back, it was still there. And you go, wait a minute, I just deleted that a second ago. If you move your playhead back a little bit and press play, then it kind of like recharges itself and it will play correctly. So if you ever see that there any weirdness, just remember, it's processing in the cloud. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and by a little bit of time, I'm talking 2 or 3 seconds for it to, you know, get with the program and do what it was that you said you wanted it to do. It also displays in the preview pane in a very low resolution. Again, we're trying to save bandwidth by processing this video in the web browser and not on your local computer. So it's going to display it in a low resolution video. Don't freak out. When you export it to your chosen platform, it's not going to look like that. It's going to be in a much higher resolution. One of the coolest things about WeVideo is that you can save your finished project in multiple formats. So let's say I upload my video, do all of the editing, and it's for YouTube. Now I want to make a square version and I want to make a vertical version. You can simply click on the hamburger button in the top left corner, go to change format, and then you say, I want it to be square, I want it to be vertical. It's going to ask you, do you want to change or do you want to copy and change? Make sure that you hit copy and change, otherwise it changes your original. But if you say copy and change, it makes a duplicate of your whole project and now it saves it in another format. So if you wanted to upload a different version of this video to the different platforms, ideally sized for that particular platform, this is a huge time saver. It's literally the click of a button. Then you just go in and you make sure that when it shrank it from horizontal to vertical, like your text didn't run off the page. You may have to move the text over a little bit. You may have to zoom out a little bit. Just make sure everything fits. It'll probably be a 5-10 minute fix to get all that stuff done. Then you export it and now you have it in multiple formats. Now your project is all done, you hit finish, and where does it go? Well, this is really cool too. You have already gone into your account settings and you've linked it with Google Drive, you've linked it with YouTube, you've linked it with Dropbox, you've linked it with Facebook, you've linked it with Vimeo and all of the things. And you can either download to your local computer or export directly to those other platforms. So if you are a person that always wants to have a backup of your video in Google Drive, this is a wonderful thing, and I would highly encourage you to do this. When you make your YouTube video, export it to YouTube, be sure you click this little green button down here that says Mark Export as Public, change it. Change it to private right now. There is nothing worse than uploading that video to YouTube and it goes public the minute it gets there. You haven't written a description, you haven't done a custom thumbnail, you haven't done any optimization at all. Make sure you don't forget to change this to private. I wish that private were the default and not public be the default. That has happened to me before. The minute I got over and saw it was public, I immediately turned it back to unlisted, but the damage was done. The people who were subscribers had already been notified that there was a new video on the channel. So, lesson learned. You set it to private. You can have it go directly to YouTube. You can also have a version go to Google Drive or Dropbox. And now you always have a backup in the cloud. This way you're not always downloading these giant files to your local computer, which we all know takes up a ton of room. And then suddenly your computer starts running slowly and you start getting those messages saying, oh my God, you got to delete stuff, you're running out, you don't have any memory left. Ah! Just do yourself a favor, upload it directly to Google Drive at the same time that it's going to YouTube as a private video. And now you don't have to download it to your local computer. So that's why WeVideo. But what about thumbnails? Well, I have a secret weapon for thumbnails too. It's Canva. And in this video, I tell you how I make my thumbnails in Canva, which is like the best graphic design program ever for real estate agents. See you on that one.